Now I'm setting up the demo behind.
I am refining your claw weights.
And I'm spending my time.
Live?
Are we live yet?
Yeah, we are live. I'm just gonna.
Cool.
Hello, party people.
Nice text.
Yeah, make an announcement for streaming. Otherwise, ain't nobody gonna know.
Except for the notification as well. That.
Yeah.
Where are we right now?
Here.
Oh, should probably be using on these beaches. We should probably be using river rocks for the beach. Right, Pacific Northwest look, gravel beach. That one out as.
Holy shit. But you see here, you have not mentioned 1,000+ people, are you sure? Yes.
Yes.
Oh my fucking god.
But to mention for 1,000. Are you sure you wish to do it?
I just thought of that Anakin image, like, is it possible to acquire this power? I don't know how he says, what he said. I don't know how he says it. Did I have a stroke or something? I can't speak.
You might have
I don't
had a
know how
stroke.
to pronounce it. Yeah.
Just a fun-sized one. Just a little, an abyssal stroke.
How he say it? Or says it? Like, I don't think I can use that fucking word.
Are we doing a Star Wars reference?
I don't know. Hello, Crunk Dealer. Maybe I should bring up the restream chat.
They don't like your audio quality, Razor. They don't like you muted.
I'm sorry, I have a bad mic.
Hey, that's just how it goes sometimes.
They want me muted?
Yeah, no, one guy does.
I'm sorry I have a bad mic. I can't help it. I'm thinking of buying a better. Having a good mic is never a priority of mine.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. So I have that same mentality on that. Yeah, I'm not a voice actor, right?
Y'all can't have great mics.
You'll have to find out why there's a UFO there, I guess.
What channel is this? Is this working?
Yeah, this should be good. Or be wise. Maybe? Hello. Yeah, it's on fine. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't read the chat yet.
So as for my opinion on Fallout 76, I think it looks like a good game, but I don't think it's going to be a good Fallout game as to what I'm looking for. If I do get it, I'm probably going to wait until private sessions and lots of more come out. Otherwise, I can't see myself being too interested in it.
I'm almost the opposite. I will probably buy it once it comes out.
I'm probably gonna do the same.
Yeah. I'm just
Because
not a, like almost every other game that I play that I like is multiplayer, and I just feel like I'm losing that one game that is single player. This isn't Glenn. Glenn isn't here. This is Rymic, actually. We gotta change the title.
Glenn never existed. He was only a construct we used as a public face.
Glenn actually exists. I've always been accused of being an android more than once.
I think I know what the reason is. Why my mic is so bad. It's my fucking USB ports. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
18 stream.
Yeah, this is an 8, yeah. The game is mature only.
Is that why someone asked me in the live stream text, they asked me, are you over 18? Did they think I was a kid? I wouldn't be a... Someone asked me that, I think. Or at least they might... It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell in Twitch... It's hard to tell in Twitch chats who you're addressing.
Like, I think your mic is a bit neutral. Like, when you're on your phone, you have a much deeper voice.
It
could
probably,
be that.
Yeah, it probably is. I'm glad someone thought my voice was deep and not nasally and shrill.
That is the master. Or is it not? Oh no, it's not. This is the... Make sure you're not a robot. Alright.
Is my voice clearer now?
I don't know. Yeah, it sounds clear.
I have changed the title.
No, you.
Yes, me.
Who am I speaking to?
Did it change? It's being annoyed. It doesn't want to change.
What doesn't want to change?
The title of the stream.
Let me see if I can... Yeah, it changed for me.
Oh, it did? Okay, I'll log out then. I'll let it go.
And when I pressed edit, it says Flennon does some level sign. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
I changed it. Maybe it takes time to update or... See, I change it and that changes back. I'm just gonna let it go. This is Rymic, not Lenard, for anybody watching.
Yeah.
Oh, now it changed.
I was wondering if someone gave him caffeine. Yeah. Once you've leveled the sign for quite a while, you get used to all the
things?
yeah, the things. I don't know what to Like all the small things like rotating, sailing.
Yeah.
Which broke.
I'm just gonna pretend I don't see the UFO comments.
Like the attention, girl, I know you. But you're everything I want in life. We're fighting danger like kung fu. The love I feel is deep inside. The others don't matter. It's honestly us against the world. We're the perfect team. You're my dream, but I just want it. Can't get to myself. Can't get to myself. Can't get to myself. Myself. Can't get to 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 myself.
Where are y'all working today? This is Mori Island. I don't know how to pronounce that location. Mori. Yeah, whatever. I don't even know. It's an island to the west of Seattle. To the west of Des Moines. To the west of Dash Point, I don't know exactly. Do you have a website? Yeah, it should be in the description of the
It's follow Cascadia.com.
Yeah, it should be just Cascadia.com. It's fairly straightforward.
Hello?
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, I think, yeah, is my mic better?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. It's, it wasn't picking up my voice when I was talking at this level. It was... I need to check out the USB port. Something's been wrong with them for at least since I rebuilt my computer 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which one of you is from Washington State? I don't think anyone is.
None of us here.
You have multiple people from...
On the team, not in the stream.
Yeah, on the stream there's no one from Washington. There are a few Americans, a few Canadians, and a few Swedes.
Yeah.
But we do have Washingtonians on the team.
Oh, you work on Mercer Island? Yeah, I keep forgetting it's much bigger in real life than it is on our map.
Scaling and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like the distance between between West Point Light and Bainbridge Island is like literally you could toss a rock further. You could probably toss like a baseball pitch. You could probably toss a rock to it across the other side. Sorry, weird analogy is failing.
did my restream window go? Connection is not private when I click the link. Yeah, that's because we don't have the HTTPS thing. But we are working on a new website right now, so it should be fixed soon.
One that will be better and bigger than ever.
Yeah.
With 95% less suckage.
Yeah.
Dear God, I just said that and I was about to type suckage into a message I was sending someone.
It happens to me all the time.
What, when you're
I'm
typing
talking
something?
and then I type it. Yeah.
What area is this? This is Maury Island?
Yeah.
Like
How
to
big
the
is the
west
current
of...
dev team? Current dev team is around 100 people, give or take.
100 to about 120?
No,
Somewhere
it's around 100-ish.
100, give or take 10.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's in total. I think active member, the more active core, we have people who, contribute more sporadically than others.
Yeah, correct. There are some people that are pretty much full-time, and then we have people who are part-time or only in when school's not going on or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah, you got people who know-life it, like me, Flen.
Me, yeah,
Yeah,
all of us.
we ain't
All of
got...
us in the chat pretty much are full-time. Rymick is pretty much full-time, Biggie and me, Rayler, we're all pretty much full-time. So.
This is our life. Without this project, everything is meaningless.
Yeah. Like, I wonder what I would do if I didn't have something to work on right now.
I would have
probably
more, I would
only
have
be
more
playlists.
contact with my friends.
Yeah, that
I would have... My family would be able to see me. This project's taken over my life. Help me. I'm kidding, it's not taken over my life yet.
I have no idea what Rymick listens to, but I'm not even listening to the stream right now. Hold on.
Oh,
I've heard this before. pronounce the song, I'll post it in the Twitch chat since they asked.
Which song?
I posted it.
Oh, we got music?
It's just non-copyright.
Oh, for a second, I was expecting something very different.
No.
I was expecting something more electro swing or Fallout, you know, time period appropriate. I wasn't expecting. I'm not sure what to call that. Like, is that EDM? No, it's not EDM. Dubstep or electronic? No, dubstep's dead. Is it? I don't know. I'm out of the loop. I'm out of the loop when it comes to popular music. I still listen to the Charleston. And that song, that song and its associated dance was only popular in 1925.
Yeah, Fallout 76 does look a lot better, and it's not only because they use the new engine technology. They've made some custom assets too that are newer, like some of the, I imagine, the trees and stuff.
Some of their building stuff, it looks more neat.
They've done a lot with engine technology that allows them to cram in more detail into the landscape and stuff like that, so that's probably why.
There's some, oh yeah, speaking of 76, there's a song that I think should be in that game, and if it isn't, I declare shenanigans. It should be a Coal Miner's Daughter by, what's her name? Let me look that one up. Even though the song is about...
It is very illegal to port over any code or assets. Very illegal. So no, we are not.
Loretta Lynn. It's Loretta Lynn. Even though the song is about rural Kentucky coal mines, it works for West Virginia, especially the last line about her childhood home not being there anymore.
We ourselves can't even get the tech because we would need the source code for the engine, which no one has but Bethesda, so...
and none of us are Bethesda.
Yeah, it would be super illegal to do it anyway. Very illegal, so, yeah, no.
I do appreciate the fact that they have more radio stations than that. They have like folk music radio station and a more
like game gets taken down. Game gets taken down and you get DMCA copyright sued. So that's one way to lose.
We do not. We don't need ZeniMax's corporate lawyers breathing on our neck.
The only way to get it would be to restart your mod within that game. I'm not following you.
I don't think I don't know if we could do that. I just don't know how it'd be feasible.
What do you mean by restarting your mod within the game?
A saber.
Oh, you mean porting it to 76? Yes, but we're not doing that because it's not even the same game. It's way different. I imagine they stripped out a lot of stuff that would put us back way further than you would.
We'd also need the script extender and all that.
Yeah, we need the script extender, which doesn't exist for 76, so it's impossible, and we won't do it. And honestly, we're not trying to be 76 either. We're trying to be our own thing, and we're making our own assets for that purpose, so we're really not interested in 76's stuff anyway.
Even though we're finding we're making stuff they've made as well.
Yeah.
Like what?
Golf carts.
Oh, yeah. Well, we already were making those before they announced.
I know, but it was hilarious that we. What was hilarious is the fact is they used the exact same model of golf cart that they based off their design off of.
That was for coolers they did, not for ours.
Oh, is it for coolers?
Yeah, cooler. Oh. That was the one he made for Miami.
The one for Miami. Oh, sorry.
I mean, maybe we'll get around to using it too, and we'll have 2 different golf carts, but we made one that is different, and it was based off of the Fallout New Vegas golf cart.
I can't remember what the New Vegas one looked like.
All might changed a bit, like it's the quality is increased and stuff on that. Flend, it's the one that Flend posted. Picture of the green one. And you know, they made a pickaxe too, which we already had, so I mean, that's whatever. It doesn't look like they have a ton of stuff we'd be interested. That wasn't in 4 already. It won't be worth the work anyway.
The only thing that would be interesting for us would be the LOD and engine things. But
yeah, it's not worth it because then we'd have to remake other stuff because it was stripped out probably. Because with every iteration of their engine, they strip out stuff that they don't need.
Or put stuff back in that they need.
Or put stuff in that they change it. So it would be way too much work to try and port the game to 76, if that were even possible in the first place. I don't think it will be. And we're not interested in doing it.
76 will have its own, I guess, modding community. Just have to, you know, wait and see.
Yeah.
What comes out of it.
You think gun mods are hard? Try making some creatures. Or some weapon animations. Or all of them. At the same time, like I do.
How are you still alive, Saber?
I don't know.
Maybe you died and you still just don't realize it yet. This project's gonna finish and you're just gonna like turn into dust or something. Just gonna like.
Fallout Cascadia, the map of Fallout Cascadia is 2 times bigger than the Commonwealth, and it has less water, which means it's gonna be even more than 2 times bigger of land mass. So I will actually post an image that we have of it.
Hills, also lots and lots of hills.
Well, we don't have an image. We have a comparison, and our map is blacked out because we haven't revealed it 100% yet. We have like a little fake map, but that doesn't give you scale. Let me see if I can. Can I pass it? Select image. Where is it? Here it is. Where is that? Welcome, Jake. We're streaming, by the way.
I'm kind of drunk. Okay,
We're streaming.
that's fine.
I don't know if you understood. We're streaming.
There's the link for the map. You should be able to see that. Our map is the blacked out one. Let me post it in Twitch too. Our map is the black background, and the Commonwealth is the one on top of it.
Are you sure that's just not a picture of the Commonwealth on a black background?
The black background is the size of our map.
It is? I just thought it was a border.
Yeah. No. No, the black background is the size of our map compared to the Commonwealth, which is visible. So.
Oh.
Yep. And with less water. Which the Commonwealth is like half. It's like 1/3 water or so.
I mean, well, Boston is literally on a bay, and Seattle is in the middle of the Sound, but it's got a lot of islands.
We're taking more of an approach that Skyrim took, where you have a big map with more spread out locations, so that you have some time in between. Because the Commonwealth is really dense, and all of the locations are kind of close together, and you know, you turn around and discover 2 new locations. We're going by what Skyrim did with spreading everything out more, so that you have time in between to sort of reflect on what you've done and stuff at certain places. So there's more traveling through the wilderness type of things that can happen.
I always felt there was tons of things in Skyrim. It wasn't like empty. It wasn't really empty. There's just tons of like these little interesting points of interest, like beautiful landscapes, great view, a random little location. Just tons of little unmarked locations were everywhere.
Bye, Claudia. Have a good night.
We're going more off of the philosophy that Skyrim took with their map, so trying to be a lot more spread out.
What are you gents drinking tonight?
Water.
Coffee.
Because
water.
I only drink water and ginger ale when I'm feeling like I'm gonna party. Yes, I'm a boring square.
Okay, so there is going to be definitely a certain amount of quests in the story. It's going to be on par with a full game. If you want to compare it to anything, I mean, maybe New Vegas. I mean, that's, I think in terms of story, we're trying to be more like New Vegas did with some of their layout. So it's hard to say how exactly, like, I can't really give you a number, because there's no exact one right now. But it's going to be
churning out side quests as we speak.
It's gonna be the length of a full game. So we're gonna try to be a lot more interesting than Commonwealth, hopefully, with some of our quest design and our exploration and locations and all of that. There are a fair amount of towns, though, that I can say.
I'm not allowed to say anything like that, right?
Well, not like we don't have numbers. If that's what you're expecting, we don't sit here and collect like exactly how many towns do we have. We don't really keep track of the number on hand. We have a map.
You don't do that? Oh, you mean you don't do that? Am I the only person who just like keeps a rote memory of this entire map?
I don't keep numbers. Like I don't think about that. I don't know. I mean, it can always change, so I won't really give any hard numbers. I don't think that's something we want to do. We've already said our opinion on 76 like 10 times, I think. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be a good game, but I don't think it's my type of game, my type of Fallout game either. So I'm probably going to pass for a while, unless like it gets private sessions and mod support and all that good stuff later down the road. It doesn't really, from what I've seen so far, it doesn't justify the $60 that I would have to pay, so I'm not really interested as of right now.
Why is that? Why does it not justify $60? So, what is a $60 game for you, Saber?
I'm saying for me. What is a $60 game for me?
For you. So, like, you go to the GameStop.
Bethesda, if you're listening, just send me a free copy real quick. Just like PM me. My name's Frog in Discord. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, ignore that.
This is turning into a disaster.
That was a cameo of our lead writer, Anna. Just ignore that. Saber, what's a $60 game for you?
So, single-player Fallout games with mod support and single-player. See, for me, the biggest problem with 76 is that every other game that I play and that I enjoy is multiplayer, and now Fallout. Fallout was that one game, along with Elder Scrolls, that was single player that I just enjoyed playing, not multiplayer, and now I don't have that game, at least in the current generation.
So is there a $60 multiplayer game you would pay for, or you have paid for?
Probably not. No, not a multiplayer game. No.
Really? How much was Sea of Thieves?
Oh, actually, no, I lied. I would say okay. There, that's one. There you go.
So you pay $60 for Sea of Thieves, but not for 76.
No.
Okay. I mean, that's a you thing. I'm just saying. I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying that's your opinion.
Correct. Yes, I am acknowledging that.
I'll probably buy it.
Yeah, in YouTube, if you look, they asked our opinions, so that is why I was answering my opinion.
That's totally fine. Railer, what's a $60 game you would pay for?
Depends. I'm probably going to be buying Paradox's new upcoming game, Imperator Rome, just because I pretty much buy everything Paradox makes.
Yeah.
$60 game, it all depends whether or not it fits what I want. Like, whether it's something I'll be interested in. God damn, I can't hear anyone.
Like, the idea of a multiplayer Fallout is cool, but it's just I don't think it's the game.
I've played the Elder Scrolls Online, but I recently haven't...
See, that's one game that I do like a lot.
I didn't play enough of it because I kind of uninstalled it because I went through a period where I didn't play it, and then I'm like, it's taking up so much space on my computer, and I was obsessively religious about keeping it my computer having at least 400 gigabytes of space on it.
So I think for me it has to do with the genre that I was trying to go with for the multiplayer game. Like, I like MMOs, like ESO and stuff, but this is more like a survival type game.
This is Rust. It's Rust.
Yeah, and I don't like games like that at all.
Oh wait, I know you guys have been talking about 76. Let me just say this. I think the biggest interesting thing they have though is the territory thing, but oh man, I saw the vast combat too. It's Mr. Matty Plays did that video that Flynn posted.
Yeah.
Oh boy, dude, like it's just a whole nother kind of animal that I've never seen before. I don't know how to judge it.
I don't know if I like it, but the biggest
you should
problem
judge it on its own merits.
Is I don't really like building games in general because
I love that. That's why I'm a level designer.
Right, but I need something to do that isn't that. So when I want to play a game, I don't want to play a game where I'm building stuff still. Because then all I do is build stuff. I just want to play a game, have action, have combat and stuff. Like, I just am not a fan of the settlement system. I never have been. And to have a game that's kind of based around having a settlement and building it, and it just doesn't sound like my kind of game.
And
like, I completely ignored the settlement system in 4.
I didn't really do it. I felt that, the settlement system was a little too forced. Like, the game ended up hinging way too much on that settlement system they claimed was optional. It was woven so deeply into half of the story.
I built the generator, and that was probably it. I just wasn't interested in building stuff.
Like that. For the settlement system, as they claimed it was optional, but it was so deeply attached to like the Minutemen storyline. That and why are you the general, but you're getting all of the orders from fucking Preston?
Yeah.
At what point I wanted to scream at him, "You're the general," because I seem to be taking all the orders here.
Yeah.
You can't give orders. He overrules you all the time. He insists on things.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of... I don't think I'm a huge fan of, like, the survival type of building games, where you're, like, building yourself a fort and, like, you have other players raiding you. This doesn't seem interesting. Like, I'm not into that. Like ESO, I enjoy because it's a different game. It's not trying to be Skyrim, right? It's trying to be its own MMO game that's more similar to games like World of Warcraft and all of those. I just find myself enjoying that because of that. I don't know.
I use the ESO to role play out the ancestor of my Dragonborn.
Oh, yeah. It's a genre preference. I'm just not a huge fan of the survival building stuff games. Like, I've played other games where it's like zombie survival, and like it's just, I don't know, not a huge fan. I always preferred the like single player RPGs. I like MMOs. I like.
What's your opinion on Dragon Age then?
I actually haven't played much Dragon Age. I don't think. I can't really recall much. I want to at some point probably.
But one of the things I like about Dragon Age is the fact that the world feels real. It feels like a world that has its own culture, and the Andrastian Church feels like an actual present organization.
Like,
it feels like it's
like The Witcher, for example, is a great game, and I love that game. Just the way that, like, for me, Fallout 4, despite its flaws, I like the game. Like, despite Fallout 4's flaws, I like it. So, I just like playing the game.
Okay, what I'm about to say is completely unrelated to anything we're saying. I hear a television running in the bedroom next to me, and I just keep hearing someone keep flatlining. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Someone keeps dying on television. I have no idea what's going on, but that's apparently someone keeps dying. But back to the Dragon Age. What I liked was about as I was saying about the Andrastian Church, is how present the religion is in everyone's life. How many people just say, "Maker bless you," "Maker damn you." People say curses like Andraste's tits. You know, like they will use these blasphemous terms that I feel is missing in the Elder Scrolls. There's a lack of kind of the presence of their religion is missing.
I can see that. Yeah.
They don't have there's no real priestly garb that's been created through the Imperial Church.
In ESO, there's actually what are they called? In Somerset, there's like this divine group.
Is that the Sigics?
The Divine Prosecution, I think. Or let me find out. I don't even know. That might have been a quest name. Oh yeah, the Divine Prosecution. It's a let me see. They are a group that are like high up supremacists that have a. Let me find their exact description. I don't know. They have some lore.
It's just like that. It feels like that's kind of missing from the Elder Scrolls world. There's people who just say how it's kind of missing like that.
They like hate Daedra in any form, and they go out of their way to just destroy all Daedra possible. And they're very adamant about that. So I think ESO does a good job in some areas of that. In some of the Isles, with the Divine Prosecution and such.
It's missing from most countries. Like, you think that people are it's missing like that kind of presence. Like it's everywhere. Like people use it just commonly. Like they say, like people say blessings of Stendarr, Divine's mercy and all that. Like as a greeting, people just go Divine's mercy. The gods be willing. Instead, if they wanted to say, something hopefully happens, they say gods be willing.
Yep.
Or divines be willing.
Yeah. The games that I find myself liking are MMOs, single-player RPGs, and even MOBAs, but the problem I have with MOBAs is they take way too much of my time. They are so time-consuming.
MOBA? What's a MOBA?
Multiplayer online battle arena like Dota.
Like Dota or Smite or anything?
Yeah, like League, Dota, Smite.
Yeah, it really does. My brother is always playing Dota.
I'm a fan of them for their complexity, and they're just to understand all the concepts and master everything. It's just a really fun game to play. But then again, it takes up a lot of your time. So.
Oh yeah, I can vouch for that. My brother spends a lot of time playing those.
Oh, yeah.
He does,
I think
and like
a lot of the-
sometimes like never comes down for dinner because he won't leave a match.
A lot of pro players are like, yeah, you either need to go pro and make it a career, or you're wasting your life away. I think one of the pros said at one point, I think it was Dota or something. Like, if you don't go pro doing this, if you don't make it your career, you're wasting your life. You're wasting time. That's an opinion, but I mean, I can see that being kind of true. You know, however people want to spend their time, I guess. And I come from a history of playing Halo a lot, like back in the back when I was a kid.
Nerd.
Yeah. So those are the type of multiplayer games that I like that aren't MMOs and MOBAs. Like anything that's combat with like a good campaign, or you know, just a fully fledged.
Sometimes I play Guns of Icarus.
Yeah.
You know how bad they want to make 76 into a BR game?
What?
I would, yeah. Then I would not have played.
You know how bad they wanted to.
I hate Battle Royale with a passion.
They wanted to do a BR game so bad.
Oh, Battle Royale, that's what you meant by BR.
I will not play a Battle Royale game because I despise them.
I mean, it kind of is with the nukes, but it's just more of a free-for-all. It's not straight up like BR. And even the nuke thing, I haven't even seen any gameplay on that.
That could be a problem with me too, because I've always liked having teams. I've never liked being solo in any case. So, I don't know. I have to see how they do the team setup. Well. Mass Effect did a voice protagonist really well, but they locked you into a singular character.
Yeah, that's
because you knew very well that you were Commander Shepard. You didn't pretend you were someone else, but in Fallout, traditionally you could roleplay whatever character you kind of wanted to. And I think that's kind of what went wrong with 4 is that they let you customize all the looks of your characters and make your own character, but you were still the same voice. So it didn't really feel like it felt like you were me. But
it pulls you out from it too.
Yeah, because at the same time you were trying to customize. It's like conflicting, you know. Like you have this idea that you're role playing and that you get to create your own character, but at the same time you have a backstory that you're Nate, you've been in the military, you're a father with a child, and it's like, unless you play a female, and then you're Nora with a child and with a law degree, and it's like, but why do I create my own character then?
The thing with like Dragon Age Inquisition, the characters actually have different backstories based on the class and race you get. If you're a human sword and shield, you're the son or daughter of a noble family from the Free Marches.
Yeah. No, Mass Effect definitely did do it well.
You could pick your backgrounds.
Yeah. With what we're trying to do, we're trying to have a completely open backstory, kind of like a blank slate. So we're not having a voice protagonist for that. And just because like a voice protagonist is actually a lot of work to do, it takes a lot of time, and we just don't think it's worth it to do that when we want to have a blank slate character.
It's sort of like New Vegas, where you can kind of fill in you can use dialogue options to expand your character by choosing whether or not you, like, oh, my parents are still alive, or, you know.
By Warlord.
Yep.
Or, you know.
Yep.
Deus Ex is the best game ever. Yes. I agree with that.
Debatable.
I have a poster of it on my wall of Human Revolution. I don't know about the other one. Mankind Divided's kind of... It's there.
Yeah, he said it's one of the best ones ever made.
No, for me, it's the.
It is
I corrected him. Asterisk correct. The.
Yeah, Deus Ex is very good.
I know it's Deuce. Is it Deus Ex? It is Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was pronounced different.
Yeah. I mean, it was worth a try. I mean, they gave it a try, I guess, and now they know not to do it, but...
Who would know not to do it? Oh, Bethesda.
Yeah, yeah.
Todd didn't acknowledge that, didn't he?
I can't blame them for trying it, right? Just like I can't blame them for trying 76 to have a multiplayer game. Like
they've been wanting to
try
for a
it,
while,
yeah.
so
They've got to try it. Hopefully they'll learn from it and make Starfield and PS6 amazing.
I watched some of those analysis videos on that. It seems most likely it is going to be Hammerfell.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Well, I mean, they've matched some of the geology matches up, like the points off, like the different points that come out in the land. There's a crater nearby, like there is a large crater in Hammerfell.
I'm very curious about Starfield and where they're going with that as a single-player game. If it's going to be more like Fallout, or if it's going to be more like Elder Scrolls, or like what is it going to be like? I'm not sure yet.
Something new that they want to try, you know?
Yeah. There is a satellite in there, so that implies it's going to be fairly modern, futuristic. Guns, most likely.
And you can go fantasy. You can go space opera with
Not entirely sure where they're going with it, but we'll see. Getting a very Destiny-like vibe, but
from what?
In a single-player way. Starfield.
Oh, okay. I mean, there has been nothing shown besides the title.
Right, correct. Yeah. And just from the little snippet they showed, it felt kind of like Destiny to me, but...
I got No Man's Sky's feeling. I don't know how many tomatoes are going to be thrown at me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mix. I think it's a mix of all those space games.
I get really big No Man's Sky vibes when I hear about this.
Yeah, but of course it's going to be a single-player game in the fashion. I don't know if there's going to be space travel and how that's going to work, but...
It has to.
It's going to be at least on a planet or so. I don't know.
What about Beyond Good and Evil style?
Beyond... Oh, yeah. The gameplay for the new one for that's pretty crazy.
I like I find it's interesting. I've never really seen many games where they have, like, lots of influences drawn from Hinduism and in India.
So...
It's a major aesthetic.
We got a question about, is buried part of rocks, cars, tires, etc. impact on FPS performance, or does the game forget them once compiled?
That's a you question.
Can you repeat?
In Twitch chat. Are buried parts of rocks, cars, tires, and etc. impact on FPS performance, or does the game forget them once compiled? Does the game render stuff that's under the landscape?
If it is, I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
It renders it if it's there, it's rendered, even if it can't be seen, until it's out of its range in which it will be rendered.
But that doesn't matter because it creates a different effect than having a full car there. Normally you would just place a car above ground there, sure, but that doesn't achieve the same effect as a buried car, so it's worth losing those tries underground, right? Because you're getting a different sense that, this car is buried here, it's whatever.
Over the years, it's settled into the ground, and erosion has started to bury it in the ground.
It would be far too much work to try and cut out the tries for the part that's under the ground, and then you'll have all of the cars, they'll need to be placed the same way under the ground. Otherwise, it'll be visible that there are chunks missing out of the car. So it's just how it goes. Triangles are not the biggest hit on performance for objects like that. The real hit comes from objects that are placed a lot, like trees. They're everywhere. The occasional tire or car shoved under the ground doesn't hurt performance at all, really. Barely. So I would not worry about that.
It's big things that require lots of rendering, complex shapes that create shadows. Shadows are the biggest drains.
Like our 240,000 trees that we have, that we are optimizing very much so, in order to render the best possible way that they can. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a few objects here and there don't really hurt performance. It's the big, like, it's like those massive swaths of trees that you have to worry about, stuff like that. And a lot of the objects that we're using are used the same way in the base game, so it'll be base game performance in that way. Like a lot of the grass you're seeing, and the rocks, and the tires, and cars, they're all taken from base game, or using base game triangle counts. So. The tree LODs are going to be 3D up to a certain range. The way you do LOD, you do LOD progressively, so that you have the first closest layer is going to be the most dense and the most 3D, and then you slowly cut down the amount of triangles as you go further out.
Eventually, your trees become like flat. They go from like high polys that you see right up in front of you. Then they start to progress into a simpler form, and then they turn into like really simple planes. Then they'll turn like two planes through each other, and eventually there's go a flat image on the rise.
So you'll you basically make different LOD models, and then the further out that they go, the LOD models are generated for that. So there can be like 5 layers, I think, or so, of just LOD that goes out at a distance, and they progressively get smaller and smaller in their tri counts.
Yeah, it's basically all about the amount of detail that's needed to complete the illusion. Yeah, to complete the illusion that this is a world.
And that the trees don't look too bad, even at a distance. Like, from the farthest LOD away, you still want it to look relatively kind of like a tree from that far out. So, yeah. But the trees are very far away. Sometimes they'll just be like 2 planes, like catty-cornered, and then we'll have the tree image kind of baked on the plane. So it's literally just giving you the illusion that there's a tree there, when in reality it's just like planes that have transparency cut around the tree base. So, kind of neat tricks that we can do to solve the issue of too many triangles. We have far more trees than the Commonwealth does. Working number is like 240,000 right now, and I don't think we're done yet, but
some trees will just be LOD because they're too far from the anywhere a player will ever get. They'll just be there in LOD, but they probably won't be there beyond that.
And we've got plenty of optimization to do yet. We'll be optimizing the trees quite a lot yet, so the final product will play very nicely, even though there are a lot of trees. Never too late to learn, CK, if you don't know it now.
It's not something impossible to learn.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously all do it, so to a degree.
So Big guy sent me some pictures of that test area we were working on.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I guess it's 2 different biomes.
But oh no, that's all the same. It's just looking at different angles at the same spot. Different angles. I put a bit of terrain in there to. We'll probably have to make like a custom material swap for the dirt cliffs in that, because I can't find anything that has the right kind of that uses anything.
Yeah, that's really easy to do.
Yeah, the Far Harbor pine needles and the eroded dirt. So that's all I've used is pine needles and eroded dirt roots. That's it. I created all this. Just 2 textures. Just need like more verdant things. Swap out things for like 5 colors.
Do y'all know any modders that would be willing to help me make a quest mod in a few months? Well, see, usually for projects to get started, I would say that modders generally aren't going to jump to your idea, just like right off the bat like that. You get a lot of people that aren't necessarily like full-time modders like we are. There's a lot of people
to attract people.
There's a lot of ideas out in the community that people want to make these big quest mods, and they have all these cool ideas, but they don't happen because people aren't drawn to just ideas. They're drawn to people who have talent and to people who know what they're doing with CK and all that stuff. So I would say, I would advise to you, rather than just having an idea and wanting to get people to make it with you, I would say to get really good at the CK and be able to manage your own for a while. Right. Yeah, start small, do it yourself, learn how everything works, and then form your team around that. Don't just go to the community with a cool idea and expect people to jump in at you to help, right? A lot of people will want to help you that maybe don't have a lot of experience, and that could end badly, and the project might never happen then, because, you know, these people, they want to learn, but if you can't teach them, then nothing goes anywhere, right? Yep. So I would just really focus on learning it yourself, and maybe doing something small yourself. You can do a very small and manageable quest mod by yourself, even if it's just like one quest, one stage of a quest. Like, that's something. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Once you learn how everything works and how to do it yourself, you shouldn't have a problem getting maybe a few people to help you out somewhere. And you could even, you know, help teach people yourself. Since you know the system and how it works, you can have other people also who maybe don't have as much experience, but will join and you can teach them how to do stuff. Because it's hard, it's really hard to get people who know what they're doing, like, fully, because they're already working on, like, huge projects like Cascadia and such, so they're not really interested in just some, you know, random person who has an idea to make something, right?
And also, every idea starts somewhere. Fallout Cascadia was also one of these crazy ideas.
Totally make a mod in the Commonwealth first, because that world already exists for you. I won't recommend trying to make a new world space to do a quest modding, because it's going to be very empty, and you're going to have a hard time.
Unless you want to experiment, just do something for yourself, like experimenting on how to build world spaces.
Yeah, you could do that, right. It all depends on what you want to do first, because you can learn how to build a world space first, and then once you're done with the world space, then you can put a quest in it, for example. One at a time, though, if you try and do everything at once by yourself, it's going to be too much. Yeah, Sub-Zero here is our one of our lead level designers, so definitely take his advice in terms of that. He is going to be just on his other account. His YouTube account.
I was gonna make a joke. That's how we get our likes up. Is by just everyone and their mom just likes it 4,000 times.
So, Barth Black Sword asks, what's been your favorite area of the map to work on in terms of level design? I guess we'll get Vicky and Rayler to try and answer that, maybe.
Well,
for their favorite areas.
My favorite areas sometimes are, well, I really like working on the Snoqualmie Valley. It's away from downtown, and I don't have to worry about how building buildings. Downtown is fun, it's wonderful, I love it, but it also makes me want to pull my hair out because there's just so many things I have to do. When then I go to Snoqualmie and I just kind of unwind, and I just fiddle around with nature and building farmhouses and placing farms, work and sculpting the river and just making nature, and it's relaxing. So those are kind of my favorite spots, or anywhere where I get a chance to like show off a new little concept, like how to make a battling brook, or reworking something and making it nicer. I love those are the things I love. Just those little beautiful spots that I can make better.
What about Vicky? What is Vicky into?
I'm just gonna say Harbor Island because it's an industrial area.
Right next to downtown.
Maybe, yeah. Get the good LOD in the background. Or maybe Mercer Island because it's so varied. It's like nature, commercial, houses, beach.
Right smack dab in the middle of Lake Washington.
Yeah.
I love doing those little random cluttering things where I'll do little stories, like right off of a dock on the waterfront of Seattle. I put all kinds of like random garbage. There's like 5 or 6 cameras laying on the bottom, which you kind of tell like a little story of people who were taking pictures, seeing pictures, dropped their cameras and lost them. There's bicycles and all that.
I will also say that you'll probably want an SSD if you don't have one, a solid state drive, because CK and Fallout in general are very load intensive. They take a while to load. So if you have an SSD, that's going to speed you up massively, along with the RAM. The RAM and the SSD are really important. They're going to allow you to load stuff way faster.
I'm not sure what this is. This is not very Pacific Northwesty, what I'm seeing right here.
Yeah. The CPU can be, as long as it's powerful enough, same with the GPU, like they're important. But that RAM and CK hogs RAM like massively. So 16 is probably what I'd recommend too. 16 gigs, especially if you want to like head a project by yourself like that. You're gonna be dealing directly with it. Yeah. Oh yes, SSD for sure. Very important, and make sure that it's big enough that it can hold both Fallout 4 and the creation kit. So, over 100 gigs, preferably, like something over that. I have a 500 gig myself, I think, but I also have my OS on it and a whole bunch of other programs. So. think I have an old 4th gen. Oh, wait, no. What's the 4th gen? I have an i5 4690K, so that does me fine, honestly. There are newer I have been needing to upgrade my CPU yet, but anything like that or more is perfect enough. You might want something with at least 8 cores, though. It might help. Yes, I'm currently implementing one of them right now, so. The Orclaw is a killer whale styled. It's almost like a death claw, but it is in the style of a killer whale. So we call it the Orclaw. We posted a few update pictures of that in our community Discord. If you haven't seen that yet, if you haven't been to the community Discord yet, please go there. It's in the description. We have plenty of updates in there for stuff like some of our creatures. We don't have a ton of creatures right now, but there have been like 1 or 2 that we've revealed, such as the Wanamingo and the Orclaw.
How much of the map is complete? That's really hard to answer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that is very hard. Like, there's areas that have been like we've done our auto generation to do our first sort of fleshing out of the areas, but it's some areas get like they wobble back and forth. Oh, it's more complete. Then we go back there, we like scrap half of it and start over because it wasn't good enough and it's really old.
But to put that into better words, I would say we follow a very iterative design philosophy where we go back and we do second passes and third passes on areas.
Like downtown was.
We don't work on an area and then call it done and never touch it again. We do many different passes on different areas where we change things, scrap parts, fix stuff.
Bethesda has a talk on this subject. It's called How We Used Iterative Design to Ship Skyrim and Fallout 3, I think.
Yep.
And it's just basically they work on a location for like 2 weeks, or like they work on a location for a week and then they switch to a new location, and then they don't see that location again for a couple of weeks, so that they can begin to work on it again with like a fresh mind.
Right.
That's kind of hard to describe, but like
I
think we have a Swedish saying, like, you stare yourself blind. That's just what happens in level design. You're working on an area until you can't come up with any ideas.
That's what my high school art teacher told me. She told me and she taught everyone in her classes like that. Is that artists, you have to step back from things and take time away from it, whether it be days, a few hours, work on something else, and then look at it with, she said, fresh eyes. You'll notice things. Because you'll be seeing the picture again, and you won't be so focused on the little thing. You'll realize, that's wrong. But that's why artists sometimes flip their paintings upside down, or they'll, and all that. So you notice things because it might look okay.
So you can get a big picture.
It might look okay but you're looking at like the composition as it is. Like you're looking at the thing, but you're not. Like you're seeing the face, or like if you're painting a person. And you're looking at that, but then you turn it upside down and you notice that it's not balanced right, because you're now looking at it not the item, but looking at the composition.
Right.
So you want to look back and sort of see things and go.
Yeah. When you turn a face upside down, you don't see the face anymore. You see what it is, and you can
see whether or not the shadows are off, or it doesn't. It's not the image itself is working.
So I want to address this in YouTube. An idea. What if you combine an orca and a grizzly bear to make something akin to of Inuit mythology? I don't know. I probably butchered that name, but the problem with making creatures on an idea is that creatures are a huge workload. Like they are something that have been in the works for a while, and we can't just add them on a whim, simply because they take massive amounts of time to perfect and to get to a point where they're, good for a final product. So, all of our creatures are pretty much already in the works and they're all established. We aren't adding new ones because they are such a giant task to do. They're not something we can just, have a cool idea and add, right? It's something that has to be in the works for a while, planned, and takes a lot of time to make a creature. So that's the problem. Like, otherwise we might, but it just, there's so much that goes into a working and walking around creature. It's just a lot of work. So multiple people worth of work. Multiple people worth of work. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you
Hello?
if you ever get into if you ever got into creating creatures, you'll see how much work it is to take it from a sculpt or a concept art piece to a sculpt to a low poly model that has proper deformable topology, and then you have to skin it properly to a rig, and then you have to animate it with a rig, and it's a lot of stuff. A lot of work. And then you have to do polishing and refinement for a few weeks and stuff, and that's can be a lot of work just for one. Luckily for creatures like Yorklaw, we can get away with using a lot of the base deathfall animations, but we are tweaking them a fair amount. So that alone is also a challenge to try and tweak them in a way that they don't break and that they work properly and such. So it still is quite a task, even though we have the deathfall animations to base it off of and the skeleton already intact. It's still a lot to try and get the Yorklaw to deform to that properly. But we make do, make it work. But for a lot of creatures like the Creaker that we announced via the concept art, creatures like that are probably going to need a skeleton rework and custom animation suite, and sound too. Our sound team even needs to make the sounds for the creatures. So it is a lot of work.
Can we state some of the ones that we've already sort of teased that we are putting in the game?
Well, the ones that we announced to the update.
Yeah, like the Creaker.
Yeah. We've already announced those in updates.
Wanawing, we've teased the Wanamingo, right?
Wanamingo, Creaker, Yorklaw, I think. Yes.
And foxes,
And foxes, yeah, and foxes. We're gonna have foxes, and we're gonna have a fox companion that is on par with Dogmeat in a way, although...
But more foxy.
More foxy, yeah, right. More of a fox than a dog.
I think we're gonna use a lot of the Far Harbor ones, because Far Harbor came up kind of a lot of things. Like Far Harbor has chickens and rabbits and wolves.
So the unique thing about what we're doing is you're not going to just see Commonwealth creatures. You're going to see a mix of the Commonwealth creatures. You're going to see the Nuka World creatures. You're going to see some Far Harbor creatures. So we're definitely integrating all of the ones that we feel fit the location. I don't know if we're going to be putting all of them in, but the ones we are going to be from all the DLC that we can access. So
yeah, Seattle will be full of all kinds of fauna and flora, both docile and deadly.
And we have the map size to accommodate it as well. Our map is, since it is 2 times larger than the Commonwealth, we have plenty of space to accommodate all of these different creatures. And
it was you, Saber, that said that it covers. Was it you that said it covers about 80 square kilometers of real-world land?
It covers around 80 square kilometers of Seattle and outward, like around the Seattle proper and its surrounding area. It's about 80 square kilometers of real-life area, which then gets converted to Fallout scale. So it's not 80 kilometers in-game, it's 80 kilometers of area in real life that is scaled down to Fallout size. So
it's covering like Seattle and the Seattle area, from Tacoma.
So, the only monsters that we revealed so far have been the Creaker, which is like a tree mutant morph to the human thing. We actually have
a horrifying monster.
Horrifying, yes. So we have that concept part of that we released is in the update channel, but we're definitely doing some iteration and some second passes on the design for that. So it probably won't look like that in the final product. The Orclaw is final though. So, and yes, the Orclaw will have a unique sound. It will have a unique sound suite with different killer whale sounds and horrifying screeching.
Free Willy will definitely be terrifying now. And with the Creaker, being in the forest will be terrifying. Any tree stump you see might just come and kill you.
The unique thing about our killer whale creatures in our Orclaws that compares to the Deathclaws is that these guys hunt a little differently, and they hunt in packs. So you're gonna have to fight maybe 3 at a time. These guys are pack hunters, and they are going to rip you a new one if you go near the coast. Of course, you'll be able to go to the coast and kill them like any other game where you can go to Glowing Sea and kill stuff, but if you go there at level 1, you're probably gonna die. So yeah, these guys are very tough. And you know, they have to survive against normal Deathclaws too, because there are Deathclaws in the area and they don't get along with Orclaws. Oh no. They do not get along, so. The only ones that we've revealed have been the Orclaw, the Creaker, and the Flamingo, I believe, and the Foxes, so that's all we can really say for now.
Tease something else, another one from Fallout 2?
I don't know if we revealed it, but let me see.
Yeah, we did, because
I want to see the picture.
Jake did concept art of it on stream, the floater.
Yes, the floater. That is something that is also getting second passes and some design work done to it. So that is still in the works. But we are having a floater type creature from 2. To what capacity that will be, we'll have to find out, but definitely going through some iterations on it. Floater is a creature that was in Fallout 2, I believe, and it was based on a, what kind of worm was that? It's a type of worm creature. It's a flatworm. It's a flatworm type creature. So that is why we're going to have that. It's kind of a neat thing, kind of a unique creature that is kind of terrifying. They're a flatworm, but they also manage to fly, because they have these internal gas sacs that they use to propel themselves off the ground. So it's kind of a creepy thing. You can look it up. They were making a return from the old games in a new style, so I definitely look up the floater. Very cool creature. That is very mutant and very disgusting.
Yeah, it's not your rat, stag, or Brahmin.
I'm gonna destroy you, Jake.
Why are you going to destroy Jake? What is he doing?
He's asking if the Enclave is gonna be.
We can't say.
On what?
On whether or not these things are around.
Where? Where? What? Where?
What? What?
Jake asked if the Enclave was in the mod as a joke. And I said no. The Enclave is not here. The only returning faction is the NCR. That is going to make a physical return. As to other factions, there may be references, but I don't think they're going to be like anything major. So
yeah, the passing reference to something or another.
DSJ.
What is DSJ in the Twitch stream now?
Not on Twitch. They're on YouTube. I don't know why they're on YouTube.
I don't know.
It's the only place where I can ban them.
It's the only place you can. Well, you can always ban them here.
Thought I remembered them being in Twitch, but I'm probably wrong. Before. In the past.
Wow. I was so long on this stream, I forgot to turn off my computer.
So, the only issue with our YouTube is that sometimes YouTube will, like, block an entire video after it's finished for playing, like, copyright music, where Twitch will just mute a portion. I think Twitch's handling of that is a bit better than YouTube. And I think the YouTube stream is actually a bit behind the Twitch one. I think Twitch has better, I think it has better latency or something, better keeping up with the time. So, I don't know. The YouTube stream is always behind a little bit.
Saber, your audio is a little bit hot. Your mic's a little hot. It's getting there's little pops and snaps in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good mic like you.
Me? I just swapped.
Well, not like you, but I don't have a mic. I don't have a good mic for the same reason that you don't have the best mic either, because it's not my priority.
I'm thinking of getting one because I'm thinking of maybe doing some voice acting for Cascadia. Not sure if I can say that out here. Did I?
Will there be model tweaks or variants of existing monsters from the vanilla game? Not really. Not really.
Oh.
Because again, that's a lot of work to make them. Because we don't have any of the source models. That's the problem. We can't
Didn't
really.
we make that police?
No. Well, he's talking about monsters.
Oh, monsters. I thought you said models. I was thinking.
Oh no.
I thought I was talking like because I was going to bring up the police cruiser.
The reason why we can't tweak a lot of the vanilla stuff is because we don't have any of the source models for their stuff. So while we have the in-game model, we don't have the high polys or the original textures that were made, the texture files. So we can't really tweak much. So yeah, they're going to be fairly the same. We're not aiming to be. We're aiming to use Fallout 4's assets to make a better game. We're not aiming to be 100% different game than before. We're aiming to make use of the assets that are there and to make our own game with that.
And if necessary, we make our own stuff.
We're not trying to. Correct. The reason why we make our own stuff is because it's obviously a different region. It's a lot different stuff, so we need to have some custom stuff. But then again, we don't really need to change the Fallout 4 creatures because we're not aiming to be that. We're not aiming to completely remake Fallout, right? We're just trying to make a good game out of what's already there. That Fallout 4 provides.
I don't know. My brain is filled with pictures of idyllic, semi-verdant, Cascadian, forests with mutant rad stags wandering through.
So we're going to be making use of as much Fallout 4 as we can, but for the parts that we can't, we're making custom assets. For stuff that doesn't exist in 4, or for stuff that doesn't work in the area and stuff.
Stuff that just needs to be made just to give that authenticity to the Seattle area.
But the creatures, it's running in the Fallout 4 engine. We're going to make use of the existing creatures because it's really a huge workload to do much with creatures. It's a lot of stuff that needs to be done for them. Even to tweak existing ones, we can't really do much of that. And if there was, are the rad stags? Where do the rad stags come from?
They come from the base game of Fallout 4.
I know, but do they come from deer and stuff?
Yes, they're rad stags and rad does. They're just mutant deer.
Right. You would require a lot of changes to make it look like it came from Moods, specifically to the model, and we don't have the source normal. We don't have the source high poly that they use to make normal map. the normal map for it, so it will look very bad if we try to do anything model-wise with it. We need the source models to do anything on that level, right? And we don't have them because they're Bethesda's, so...
There's a big difference between the size of a deer and a moose.
Right.
Moose
So
are like
all we
1,000 pounds.
All we have to work with is the game models, and you can't really do much. It's not source stuff, so... Yeah, imagining is great, but, like, you gotta be able to implement it, too. Otherwise it's, you know, just an idea, right? I was always confused at like their stance in the Commonwealth, because they always felt like they were an enemy, but they weren't, because they never really attacked you. So
I don't know why they were listed as hostile, even though they
they're
were docile
hostile.
creatures.
They were hostile, but yeah,
They didn't really attack unless you encountered a rabid one. Yeah, it's just a weird thing. They seem to just set them as hostile, which is annoying because then your companions go running after them, shooting them.
Rumors. Yeah, I don't know. That's more of a writing thing.
What?
Writers.
What?
Ideas are cool, but there needs to be a purpose. There needs to be a purpose for the writing. We're not just gonna put in rumors of a rad moose when there is no rad moose, because that doesn't really make any sense, right? And it doesn't really add anything to the story or the writing or any of that.
Well, unless we mentioned them, unless someone mentioned about seeing giant moose up in Canada.
I guess, but like, it has to be worth doing. It has to be worth adding to the equation. And we already have writers that are writing the story that already have. See, a lot of our writers already have a lot of ideas, and to implement every idea from the community is hard. We have to implement all the writers' ideas too. So
We have to sift through the best ideas, you know.
And a lot of our writers get first call on ideas. They are the ones writing it, so and a lot of their ideas are really great. So we're trying to work with that. The writers can take community ideas and use them, but most of them have a lot of ideas of their own that are very cool and add a lot to the story. So
I just found a muffler in my basement.
yeah, we're going to be going a lot of with the ideas of the writers first and foremost, and then if they see an idea they like in the community chat, for example, in our Discord, they can use it, and then then your idea will make it in. Albeit they're going to change it quite a bit, probably, to make it fit with the existing story.
Yeah, the writers are bombarded with suggestions from everywhere.
Right. Yes. While they may use those, don't expect them to be the same as what you suggested.
It might just, an idea that someone suggests might just, inspire a new thing. I mean, speaking of, I've always been, I've been pushing for having beavers. God, those would be terrifying. Giant mutant beavers.
Asked about those on the mail.
I mean,
apparently cut beavers from Fallout 2.
There would be something that would work. I mean, you could use a lot of mole rat animations because the beaver and the mole rat would be probably the same size.
Mm-hmm.
The mole rat, also the base of the mole rat skeleton is very similar. Like you could get the biting in that. You just need something for the tail.
Maybe kind of me.
Still,
Not doing zombies. No.
Well, unless you want to refer to ghouls and zombies, but
you wouldn't call them zombie beavers. You'd call them rad beavers.
Or just beavers.
Or I don't know, feral beaver. I don't know. If there reaches a time where our current creature list is finished and they're all in the game, then maybe. But that is yet to be seen. So.
I'll just start the campaign #RadBeavers for Cascadia.
Oh no.
I'll make the t-shirts. We'll have a full-on campaign.
there's like 5 creatures we need to be.
Really? We have that many creatures on the list? Wow. Oh, well, of course, I'm out of the loop on creature creation.
Oh, I don't keep in touch with the movies. Zombievers, I guess, is a movie.
Yeah, that is a movie. It's something weird. They say it's literally like beaver zombies, and when you get bitten, you turn into like a zombie beaver human hybrid. And you get like the people get like beaver face and like big beaver teeth and like, you know, beaver hands and tails. Really strange. Never watched the movie. I saw like the Wikipedia page and the trailer on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's so corny, but I think that's the point. It's like intentionally ridiculous and bad, sort of like Sharknado series.
Oh yeah, it's a sci-fi. Okay, that makes it's a sci-fi channel movie.
Oh my god, that makes me think about that time like someone referenced the ridiculousness of sci-fi.
Oh, it's White Collar. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to the stream.
Welcome to the stream. Thank you.
I haven't seen the beaver in 76. I don't think.
There's a beaver in 76?
Apparently it's a mole rat with a fluffy tail. But I don't know what. Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be awesome because I would love to see the national animal of my beautiful, beautiful country. The majestic beaver.
Beavers look definitely different than moles, though.
Mole rat? Well, the mole rats, they're similar body proportions. Like the large teeth, you just have to turn those large forward teeth into sort of a reddish orangey hue because beavers, their large foreteeth that they use to chew on trees are infused with, I believe, iron, so they have a reddish orange hue.
Yeah. Yeah. Beaver's definitely a bit plumper than a mole rat.
Yeah, they're actually quite fascinating. Beavers actually sometimes share their dams with other animals. They'll share the beaver lodge. The beavers will share their lodges with other animals, and also they found out that beavers, when they hear the sound of running water, they have the compulsion to cover the source with mud and sticks and rocks until it stops. Which is why they, it's just how they keep their dams, in such good condition. They did that by scientists.
They can hear when the water is running through it.
Yeah, they did this. The scientists found out that by placing speakers that were playing the sound of running water, and the beavers covered them with mud and rocks. And just patted it down until it stopped. And it didn't matter if they weren't near the dam. It's just off on the shore. They had to cover them. It was it's leaking. And actually, the largest beaver dam in the world, I think it's a good few hundred meters across. It's like a huge dam. And the beaver dams are very good for they're great little things. They create the great ponds. They create these beautiful little wetland environments. They also make great hats.
Yeah. Imagine.
Yep. The beaver pelt was all the rage back in the day. Everyone who was anybody had a beaver pelt hat. Not literally like beaver tail. I mean, they wanted the fur to make nice top hats and all that.
See.
It was big business hunting beavers.
Yes, a live beaver makes a good hat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually why the Hudson's Bay Company pretty much owned about a quarter of North America. was all for beavers. I'm done my beaver-related facts. I'm just standing here in my basement because it's quiet, and I found an Elvis Presley Blue Christmas record and a muffler in here, and a whole bunch of hockey sticks. Holy crap! There's a lot of hockey sticks. At least 20 of them. Just sitting in the corner.
I will be back in a few minutes.
You hear, White Collar? Still?
Nah, he left.
Aw. Did I scare him away with my beaver facts?
I think you and Biggie, you and the muted Biggie be here for a few minutes. I'll be back.
I'm back, but everyone seems to have.
Welcome back. Sorry. I didn't know what to do without someone else to riff off of, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not good at talking into the void. So, what are you doing? As I've stated to the stream, I'm sitting in my basement. Because it's quiet.
I'm just looking
down
at
here.
the chat right now.
Yeah. Well, I know there's people, I think, jokingly saying that someone's name offends them because it mentions bacon and they're a vegan. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult not having conversations to flow with.
Yeah, I think that's why no one asked any questions as well.
Oh dear. We need people again. We need to gain control of the conversation.
Yeah.
What do we do? Distraction?
I don't know. We could just leave.
Is there a bit of... Sorry.
10 go.
Just I've been talking a lot, so my voice is getting a little rough. Is there a bad reverb because I'm sitting on a stairwell?
There's no reverb.
No, it's just me hearing the echo.
If lab-grown meat becomes a thing, I might become vegan. You should check out what is it called?
Lab-grown meat? That doesn't seem like a problem. It actually seems like a better solution than actually having livestock.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up what the thing is called. It's pretty new. It's like only plant-based, but it smells, tastes, and feels like really
soy? Basically soy?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Tofu,
I'm gonna
like,
look
you
it
can
up.
make like tofu. Like it's just about the flavoring and the texture. You can make it, but I mean, we might have to switch over to more eco-friendly alternatives for meat. Say like insects, like cricket proteins. Grinding cricket into protein paste and making them into like a meat substitute because they will consume a lot less land space. Like most of the world's agricultural land is reserved for is reserved for crops to feed livestock.
It's called Beyond Meat. Let me check out the Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
It's a Los Angeles-based producer of plant-based meat substitutes.
I'm all for, like, we could grow meat in labs. We could do that. What's the difference between meat grown in an animal that takes years when you could grow a huge slab of prime rib in a vat, and you could. There's no cattle to feed. You just keep stimulating and grow those muscles. You know, and you can control the fat protein. You control the fat content too. You could make the perfect cuts of rib and all that. And you wouldn't need to have cows grazing. You just grow in the meat. No animals to kill either. I can only see benefits to that.
Oh, the Impossible Burger. I think that's what it's called as well, maybe.
Beyond the beef. Like that. Yeah.
That's a pretty good question, I guess.
Yes. We need some food-related puns in Cascadia.
Yeah.
Oh God, we could do a reference to like Ivers with like acres of clams or something. We could do we could have like a quest where someone asks you to go clam hunting for them. You know, like mucking for clams in like a mud flat somewhere. Because clams are like a big staple, like a big thing in Seattle. Oh, we got DSJ. Welcome, DSJ.
Hello.
Good, we have 3 people now. We can take control of the Twitch chat again. They can start asking us questions.
Yep. Hi,
So-
I'm DSJ. I'm a writer for the project, so I can answer like 3 or 4 of your lore questions because a lot of it is kind of secret.
Yes. We can answer vague things, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing too specific because, you know, secrets make the game better.
Oh, definitely.
What would be the point of playing the game if you already know how it ends?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like there's some games where knowing the ending doesn't like change anything, but I'd say like that's if you're playing FTL or something where the story is kind of secondary to the gameplay. Well, that's irrelevant, I guess.
You know, or like TV shows based on historical events, and the people who are aware of the history, they know how it's gonna end. Like,
Yeah.
like me in the TV show Vikings, I know Ragnar Lothbrok was going to be killed by an English king.
Rip.
Sorry if I spoiled anyone who likes the TV show. Don't worry, his sons get revenge, and they kill the king of Northumbria by ripping his rib cage apart and pulling his lungs out.
Wow. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's called the Blood Eagle.
Mhm.
I think they already did it in this. I think they've gotten to that point where Ragnar Lothbrok has been killed, and now his sons are conquering England in the Great Heathen Horde. So, bring us your story-related questions, and we will.
Well, I guess this is sort of story-related from Twitch. Do we have sexual relations with companions like in Fallout 4? Will they be romanceable? Yeah. Yeah, there will be romanceable companions. Don't worry about that. And like side characters.
Prostitutes.
Yeah. And like people within factions or whatever you can have relationships with, so it's not just like you can only be with this person by virtue of traveling around with them.
You can be with someone by virtue of paying them enough caps.
Yeah, or like they're your superior officer or something. Not that that's necessarily the case, but
You know, someone who gets
There's
you do enough. There's enough quest lines, and then they, enough quests
Yeah.
and stuff about them, and they might develop the feelings for you, or you them.
Yep,
And
the
we're-
feelings.
Yeah, the feelings which lead to the sex.
Yes.
We're also bringing things like Confirmed Bachelor and Les Femmes.
Yeah, chercher les femmes.
Les
Yeah.
Chercher les Femmes.
Wait.
Les Chercher les Femmes.
Yes.
So you can be gay, straight, lesbian.
Mhm.
You can be bi if you want. You're not forced into
Yeah.
any one gender or expression or sexual orientation. It's all up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
I mean, part
doing-
of like relationships in games is sort of like, I don't know, making it interesting for people from various walks of life. So it's like less interesting to like only be like, oh, here's 2 relationships and they're both entirely straight, and it's more interesting to have variety. Plus, the nice thing about Fallout is that it's like generally speaking pretty like LGBT friendly kinda, which is, I don't know, it's something we definitely like don't want to ignore, I guess.
It's also a world without, or at least it's a world of little racial barriers towards humans and but when it comes to humans and mutants, on the other hand, different story.
Yeah.
We've moved on judging
Yeah.
each other based on the color of our skin, but whether or not our skin is still on us.
Yeah, so I've always kind of found it interesting how, like, you could definitely argue supermutants are kind of their own species, but for ghouls, it's like, are they just like, people with like a kind of illness type situation, or would you be able to classify them as a separate species? Because even for mutants, like, they can't really like self-reproduce. They're pretty much just like DNA damaged people. So I always find it interesting.
I tried to describe them by scientific standards. I was for mutants, for super mutants, I called them, for the Masters super mutants, I called them Homo mutatis californis.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, it also, you get into, like, how did this person become a mutant / school, etc. It's definitely kind of an interesting thing, and honestly, I mean, it's, I don't know, I've always found sort of, like, exploring that, like, you're not gonna, like, offend anyone in real life, so, because, like, you know, no one's a ghoul in real life, but also it's just, in general, like, more interesting to explore that than just explore, like, oh, here's where some racism.
You know, the Fallout universe has its share of racism and bigotry directed towards, you know, people, you know, as either scapegoatism by corrupt governments or...
Oh, yeah, definitely, like, Chinese, like, there's stuff with Chinese Americans and all that, which is actually a pretty interesting parallel to, sort of how Japanese people were treated during World War II.
Which do you think that in the Fallout world, someone's raising alarm bells going, didn't we already do this? The Japanese...
Oh, sure, but they probably got shot.
Yeah, people were doing that. I've always felt that it was less motivated on... I felt that it was maybe less racially motivated, in the sense of it was, like, pure racism that did it, but more of a cynical political maneuvering partnered with othering and, you know, xenophobia and jingoism. Mixing these things together to distract people from the deteriorating and unraveling political and social situation in the United States by directing all of the anger at a visibly different people and saying, blame them, it's their fault, be angry at them. They're different, they aren't to be trusted.
Yeah, definitely. I think part of it's also just that, like, various corporations, the government, etc., wanted, you know, like, people they could just kind of use for stuff.
So they just decided they're different. We're going to make the people hate them because they look different and make them and so it's all, you just twist that around, and I felt it was just a cynical, evil thing.
Yeah.
Much like
in No World Blues, like, there's the whole camp set up in Big MT that they're using for test subjects.
Little Yangtze.
Yeah.
They were doing that to political dissidents. Anyone who spoke against the government might just be dragged off in the middle of the night and had their brain ripped out of their head by Robco.
Yep, same happened to, I think it's Lonesome Road, it's mentioned that, like, political protesters get sent there as well. It's really an interesting situation.
Yeah,
also, apparently Rymic's PC is dying.
Yeah. Yeah, the Fallout world is a place where the United States isn't a democracy at this point. Their government does not believe in any of the ideals they claim they're protecting during this war.
Yeah.
They've completely thrown everything to the wayside.
Yeah, which is also part why the Enclave is, like, only kind of interesting, because you can only, like, take horrible corruption so far to a point where it's like, well, what's worth exploring at this point for this group, you know?
They've already basically filled the point of we're the twisted evil remains of a already morally bankrupt government.
Yeah.
And now we're just like, we're gonna be genocidal.
Yeah.
So they ran their course.
Mm-hmm. That's also kind of why I don't understand people who are like, the Enclave is actually good, or like the Enclave should be represented as good, because I feel like it kind of subverts the whole point of the faction anyways, to say that, like,
they ran off that idea of, oh, we're the legitimate American government, we're just as twisted as the pre-war one.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
You know, I guess you could kind of do, like, an interesting version of the Enclave if you did something where it's like,
I know that there are still
good, but I don't know, I feel like making the Enclave just strictly good kind of like removes the point of them in some ways. Sort of like just making the Brotherhood of Steel like only good kind of removes the point of them.
The Brotherhood is like, it's the Fallout universe is a universe filled with all of the shiniest, it's basically filled with a universe filled of shiny turds, and you have to decide which one's the shiniest.
Yeah.
A polished turd is still a polished turd. The NCR, expansionist military imperialists, Caesar's Legion, are a bunch of
ill-informed
Roman.
Polished.
The
Legion's like...
The Legion is a Hegelian dialectical experiment by Caesar. His goal is to create a synthesis between the NCR and his society to create the perfect wasteland society.
Yeah, but I mean,
the Enclave is basically the Enclave.
Yeah.
NCR is NCR. Brotherhood of Steel are militaristic, holy order that thinks that technology should be hoarded and kept away from humanity. The followers of the apocalypse. Their belief is that, well, their whole thing is that humans should never have this shit again. That we can't. That all technology must be hoarded and held by them and them alone. And they care not for anyone else, but their pursuit of technology for themselves, and destroying what they can, and destroying what else they can't take.
Yeah.
The followers of the apocalypse want to take what they can and give back to humanity to save it.
Yeah. So to go back to your point about Caesar's Legion, like, yeah, Caesar has like a philosophy to him, but it's kind of like, it feels like it's a justification for what he's doing more so than like what he's actually trying to go towards.
He follows Hegel. He follows Hegel and believes in dialect. He believes in Hegelian dialectics, which means that for every
Which one of you boys
thesis, Rhymic.
Yeah.
You might need to check your internet. I don't know if it's a Twitch side problem, but it might be crashing a lot on Twitch right now. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube as well.
Weird.
Yeah. Back to Hegelian dialectics. Hegelian dialectics state for every thesis there is an antithesis, and that eventually these two will obliterate each other and create synthesis, and then will be a new thesis. So Caesar sees the NCR as a thesis, so he creates an antithesis, the Legion, and his goal is this. And so he's trying to create. He basically an opposite, and then two opposites obliterate each other and create something new.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way I see that is it's kind of like, sure, that's what he says he's going for, but like at the end of the day, he's a person who decided that, oh, it doesn't matter, like women's rights, people's rights, those don't matter because I want to be in power. I want to be in charge of some great and mighty civilization. And
well, like if you think of it through the lens of Hegel, it all makes sense because NCR has equality, it has these things, but the Legion doesn't. This is the thesis antithesis. That's the Hegelian dialectical. Yeah, that's the Hegelian dialectic.
Yeah.
He's creating the exact opposite of the NCR so that they will merge and create synthesis and will eliminate. They will eliminate parts of each other and create a new, stronger thing in synthesis. That's his goal.
I mean, that might be his goal, but it kind of feels like the Legion isn't really so much the antithesis of the NCR so much as it's a society that doesn't deserve to exist again. Like, because there's nothing of worth in Caesar's Legion. The only safety they provide is the fact that they are basically like, their lands are safe, but their lands are only safe by the measure that they're basically the raiders instead. Like, people within, because the thing is, like, it post like stuff said by the devs after New Vegas came out was pretty much that the Legion doesn't really hold territory so much as they occupy places. So like there are no citizens of the Legion so much as just like people who live under Legion protection. And when you live under Legion protection, you don't really have any rights. Like if they want your daughter, you're giving them your daughter, or you're going to die, and then they're going to take your daughter. It's like there's nothing.
I'm not saying that Caesar was. I'm not saying Caesar was perfect, or the Legion was this great thing. But I'm looking.
Oh, I'm sure that's his philosophy.
I'm looking from his philosophical mindset. From a philosophical mindset, it's sound. His goal is to create the exact opposite, so that when these two meet and inevitably merge, they obliterate. They start canceling out parts of each other. That's what makes sense. But he's created a society that is unsustainable, And his goal is never, but his legion was never meant to survive. It was meant to be merged into NCR. That's why his society is so broken, because he doesn't intend it to continue. Because it's all hinged on his own on his belief in his whole Hegelian worldview.
Sure, but he doesn't even believe in his own thoughts enough to die for them. Because there's the whole side quest on the Legion side where you have to cure his brain tumor. I think he superficially sort of cares about that goal as opposed to really genuinely caring about that goal, because he's not willing to die for his beliefs. He fully admits that it's just kind of this whole situation where he says one thing, but his actions are kind of contrary to it.
That's the great thing is he's a flawed person with who's got his ideological view isn't flawed, but it's his interpretation and his practical application of these things is incredibly flawed. He's incredibly all of this is justified for the end goal of the perfect society.
Yeah.
And no matter what I do, this is all for the good. This is all what I believe is for the good of humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. He believes it's all noble sacrifice.
Of course, also I think part of the issue is just that the way the Legion gets portrayed in New Vegas. It's kind of they get portrayed pretty harshly, which I think is sort of in line with what the developers intended, but it doesn't really get you into the right mindset of, well, maybe this guy has a point,
if they'd fleshed it out more, they could have given that he does have a point, and you could end up sympathizing if they'd done it right. That maybe he is right, maybe he isn't, and if they'd done it that way, that maybe there is some good in what his idea is, and that things will be better under his sort of NCR Legion hybrid.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like to do that, the sort of what you'd have to do is sort of the onset is make it way less of basically raiders in different you'd have to kind of, because slavery, it's kind of hard. The way he does slavery is nothing like Roman slavery to begin with.
No, his is much more European colonial slavery.
Yeah.
More of a continuous chattel property.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the Romans, which had really strange things, were well-educated, wealthy people. There could be your slave could be a very well-educated person. He's your doctor, and he's got a lot of money, but not enough to buy his freedom.
Which would have been, I don't know. I feel like you for example, bring more elements of that, making them more of just a kind of tribal, harsh but fair sort of thing, where if it ended up being more it functioned like the Roman Legion in its sense. It was basically Rome, but without any of its society beyond the Roman legions. So your Centurions, your camps, your very, very strict and rigorous society, basically falling into a military fascist kind of proto-fascistic military state. Sure. It's the whole thing, I guess. But that said, I feel honestly though, to make to make the player more sympathetic to the Legion, you have, for example, Nipton always stuck out to me as kind of
that's kind of the cruelty the Romans would do too.
Oh, sure, but it never feels justified because you never see Nipton before. Everyone's oh, Nipton was a terrible place before this happened, but it's kind of, sure it was, but you're just telling the player that versus letting them sort of experience it firsthand. So
even if they got even if it was meant to be a passing glimpse, and then you come back later and Nipton is gone.
Yeah, that would have way more impact, and the player would be able to have some more feelings on it than, oh well, this place was destroyed when I got here, and I guess it had bad people.
There's the idea that there's some interesting things with Nipton. The fact is, they were the Legion itself was, I believe, outnumbered by the people of Nipton that came in.
Yeah, there's a whole gambit going on there.
and the fact is, everyone was hoping that it wasn't them. No one dared to step up because they were all afraid to be all killed. So they never stood up to this small legion cohort and let everyone die around them. And they too were dragged to be either thrown into a fire or beheaded or lashed to a crucifix.
Yeah, I think it also doesn't help that like the player can pretty easily at like level 3 or 4 or whatever that when they're running into nipped and killed legionaries there, because then it kind of feels like, well, why did these guys have such an issue if I could do it?
New Vegas had its problems. It had great concepts. There were great ideas. It's just sometimes the implementation didn't always work out, and also it was really buggy and unrefined, and it crashed a lot.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
But it was a great overall. Sometimes it was a great overall when it's the scope of what they wanted to tell. But at times it kind of dragged too. I felt sometimes it was a little boring. At times it could drag a bit. Pacing, it had problems with pacing and sometimes delivery, but the essence of what they were trying to tell and the story they were trying to tell was very good.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like New Vegas's problem, I think, is just that they were inexperienced with I guess it was Gamebryo at that point, and didn't really realize what they could and couldn't do with it. And I think a lot of that shows in the level design for New Vegas, where you have like some areas like Freeside, for instance, where it's full of clutter when it could have been cut down to like 1 or 2 cells and felt a lot larger because it wasn't a bunch of like buildings that are blocked off or whatever, so you can't really go inside of them. Because that's like what stood out to me about like places, a lot of just towns in general in New Vegas, is that they feel a lot smaller and a lot more empty than towns in Fallout 3 did, just by virtue of being sort of overly big, I guess, without enough things in them to justify the size.
That's stuff I worry about when I do my level design. I'm like, am I making this too big? Is this too much? Am I dedicating too much space to making the city feel smaller than it is by making the scale of the streets and the buildings larger? I worry about those things. And I worry about the other locations, the stuff I'm not working on. Like, are we making it? Is this area too big in proportion to something else? Does it feel like too much space? Like the landfill, which we was on last stream. I feel like it could be shrunk a bit, and it would feel bigger because of it. Because it would feel smaller, but it would actually feel more busy, because there wouldn't be such a huge space between the plant and the garbage heaps and from the road to the plant and all that. If you condense it a bit more, the player will take less time to walk there, and thus will not be frustrated trying to get from one place to the other.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, that's why I think that like when you go to like, for example, like McCarran in New Vegas, it like the outside actually feels kind of decently like sized because of all the stuff out there, but the inside of the airport feels just way too big for how much they had inside of the airport. Because especially when you get into like the concourse and you're trying to go out to the like quartermaster shed, it's like it just kind of feels way too like empty. And yeah, a guy on YouTube brought up that like Vegas felt way too small, and I kind of agree there. I think part of the issue there is just the walls that they had to put in for the sake of consoles. Like that kind of messed things up, I'd say. But also, I think it's
like the multiple walls across the strip. The odd thing of why was the whole of McCarran encased inside of a stone wall? Like, why is an airport? And there's no runway, it's just the whole thing, like the tarmac around the airport is in a wall. Why isn't it just like a junk wall around it or something?
Yeah, and then
unless that wall was built by unless the NCR built that wall.
Yeah, I don't think they did. But actually, that's a good point. I never noticed that. Wow, yeah, McCarran does not really have room for planes, I guess.
That was the thing I thought when I first played him. Like, there's no runway. I'm the person who thinks of those weird things. Like, there's no.
It's important for levels like, because I mean, conversely, like, there's definitely a lot of runway at Nellis, where the boomers are, but also Nellis feels way too big because there's a lot of emptiness at Nellis between the buildings and everything, and it's kind of like
They did things on a more realistic scale. I think that's the they tried doing everything more real world scale between spaces.
But it's kind of it works if you have like you can match the density, but with the gamer you really can't match the same sort of density you would have in just terms of like NPCs and all that.
Yeah. You can't get like an Assassin's Creed kind of crowd or a Hitman style crowd of people.
I mean, you can kind of do that in 4, but you definitely couldn't do that in like 3 or Vegas, which I think is why like Fallout 3 definitely benefited from having a lot more like sort of cramped enclosed spaces, like in Rivet City, for instance, because then it feels like more is going on in Rivet City, even though it's a much more cramped location.
Even though it's the same 6 people walking down the hallway all the time.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like the same guy. It's like, oh look, there goes the little girl. Oh, there goes that one priest guy. Oh, there goes Harkness. There's a little girl again.
Yeah, but I mean, Megaton actually, I think, is probably like a really good example of how, like, even though
feels busy,
Megaton's a pretty small. Yeah, exactly. Which, like, Good Springs kind of feels like there's something going on in Good Springs, but Prim, what I've really noticed because I've been replaying New Vegas is like Prim feels like a dead town pretty much. Even though it
kind of seems to be, because it's kind of, overrun at the moment and lawless. Yeah. So a lot of the people are either in hiding or, dead.
But even when you like get a sheriff to, like you get like the sheriff from the NCRF, or you reprogram from some, or you get the NCR involved, it's kind of like, even then, there's no NPCs wandering about the streets of Prim, really, except for if you're the sheriff from the NCRF, then he kind of stands right outside. The
everyone's still like, just
in the casino.
In the casino. I don't think they knew how to do like the multi-layering thing, like the stuff, that kind of thing, like things change. I don't know if they knew how to do that.
Or by the time they got, like, when they designed Prim, they didn't know how to. Which, it's just kind of, I don't know, I feel like, I understand why they had a lot of towns in New Vegas, but it feels like they could have done, at least with, like, consolidating, like, North Vegas Square and West Side, for instance, because West Side is basically just, I think it has, like, 1 or 2 quests, maybe, but one of them, the Whitewash, is, like, weirdly hard to access as a quest. I don't think I've ever been able to like get it just because of like the weird conditions it requires. And North Vegas just has like one really basic quest. So it feels like if they combined those areas into like say Freeside and they'd made Freeside actually smaller, it would have felt like there's more to do in Freeside, even though it's a smaller place.
Actually, something interesting is like Freeside is actually one of the inspirations for Pike. If I'm allowed to talk about Pike.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that Freeside and Pike's Place share some DNA in terms of locations. It's just Pike's Place can actually pull off the crowded feel.
Yeah, because it's a cramped and tight real world market.
Yeah,
it's some of the things like the stuff I want to do with it. I kind of want to have like the Freeside-esque kind of like scavenge neon sign in some areas.
Oh
like,
yeah, that would be
different locations might have their own little scavenge neon signs that they clamored together.
That definitely sounds at least probably doable with all the assets in 4 and just our asset team in general. And I think we've reached a good balance of like towns to like for our like map in general, because we don't have so many that it feels like there's a town every like couple of places, but it's equally not like too small, I guess.
I've got some plans on Pike of how to... What? Well, no, what?
Enough about Pike Place.
Okay. Yeah. I was just... I've got plans on it. I'll bring them up to you later.
Plans, yeah, I've got some.
It was just some plans I wanted to run through the writers, and then because I had some plans on how to expand and diversify the area a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back to New Vegas.
Yes. One thing, you know what like really stands out to me though? How badly placed Bitter Springs is. Because so so the idea of Bitter Springs is obviously it's a refugee camp, but when you try and get to Bitter Springs, like the road you can take there is literally it has like death claws on it. So it never really makes sense how anyone got to Bitter Springs, because I guess you can technically cross it up from like Camp Golf, but even then it's just way out of the way. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just really weirdly placed for a pretty small refugee camp. Yeah, Bitter Springs, it's where you go for Boone's Companion Quest. It's like a former, it's where that, like the NCR massacre happens, where they like accidentally kill a lot of Great Khans, like women and children and elderly people.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It's a pretty small place. It's not that big. But yeah, you go there for Boone's Companion Quest, so that's really why it's like anyone would end up going there otherwise.
I remember there's that town. What's that town that got irradiated by the Legion?
Oh, Searchlight. Searchlight's actually kind of interesting because it has a decent amount of exploration to it for a town in New Vegas, which...
then there's the ruins of Boulder City.
Well, yeah, which is kind of... Boulder City, it feels like they could have done more with it, and they're just like, well, you see, it all got blown up during the second battle of the Hoover Dam. That's why there's nothing here. First battle.
They booby-trapped the city. They basically lured the Legion...
Boarded it up, but if they were collapsed, it probably would have honestly at least been like, I don't know, a little bit, like it would have made sense why no one's inside of them. Because otherwise, just kind of like Free Side is full of these buildings that no one's inside of for some reason.
It's just me and you.
Yep. And New Vegas level design chat.
Well, we could always talk about what's going on the screen. You know,
yeah.
I'll be John Madden, and you'll be that other guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know American football.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't really know. I'm not really a sports person, which is I'm sure surprising for someone who works on a mod project to not really be a fan of football. But
I wouldn't know. I don't watch football.
Yeah. I mean, the most football I watch is like college football, because like for my dad's like the college he went to. So I don't know a ton about it either.
What's like this thing in the United States about college football?
It's, I don't know, it's just sort of a general thing of...
We should probably... we should check on the chat. Do people have any questions? We have just been talking to ourselves for a while.
I've been watching the restream. There's no like questions on there or whatever, so...
Please ask us questions. I'm dying to answer them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean...
Doesn't matter. I'll give you answers. I'll give you answers. It just doesn't mean they'll be correct answers.
Yeah. Here's another thing about like, I know we've been talking about New Vegas level design a lot, but like, here's another thing I kind of noticed where it's like, it feels like, I don't know, they could have done more with just in general the north half of the map, because like you said, like, yeah, there's a lot of empty places around like Vegas itself, the city. But there's just like an absence of anything on the north part of the map. Like,
I think also has to reflect with this. There's not a lot to the north of Vegas.
Oh, sure. But it feels like, I don't know, they were kind of like almost, I think, too focused on making a one-to-one representation of Vegas in some areas to like, and I don't know. I guess part of it also just comes down to they weren't like experienced with the CK in the way that Bethesda was when they made Fallout 3.
Yeah, they weren't experienced enough. If they'd been given like several months before making the game to figure this shit out, or had Bethesda people involved in making it.
Well,
and I'm not sure the legality of doing that. They'd had people on there going, "Okay, this is how we would do it," kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
They've had more coaching on it. They might.
Yeah. Because as far as I remember, I think like New Vegas was a decision by ZeniMax to like sort of have that in development while Bethesda itself was working on Skyrim. I mean, I might be wrong about that. I have no idea, but so like I think Bethesda the issue was like they were busy working on their own game when Obsidian was making New Vegas, so they didn't really have it. Like I think they talked a little bit with Obsidian when Obsidian was making New Vegas, as according to the documentary that came out a little bit like during the summer about like Bethesda's history in general. So
now, I've heard that Microsoft is looking to buy Obsidian.
Apparently that deal fell through or whatever. Or there's like some follow-up articles on it. That said, Obsidian as it is
Bethesda, buy Obsidian, absorb them.
Yeah.
Just get some of the Fallout crew in there, and you can make the best Fallouts ever now.
Yeah, I mean, J.E. Sawyer, I think, well, I'm not sure if J.E. Sawyer was still there. Like Chris Avellone, for instance, he went freelance. What's interesting is Chris Avellone writes for like a lot of games in general. Like he did the writing for Into the Breach, which is like top-down sort of, I don't know, I guess isometric mech strategy game thing, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, isn't Obsidian? They've been working on a few of these isometric, games. They're 3D, of course, but they've got that isometric look of the early '90s, like Pillars of Eternity and all that.
Yeah.
Or Tyranny, or is it Tyranny?
Yeah, I think it's Tyranny. Yeah, that's what they've been working on recently, which
were, from what I've heard, amazing games and with amazing worlds.
Yeah.
Like they were very interesting concepts, and they're very much traditional RPGs.
Yeah, and I think I maybe I'll try them one day. It's just kind of like, I don't know. For me, like I have played some of Fallout. I never finished Fallout, but I kind of just ran into a roadblock on that. That's why I did finish it. But
the original Fallout or Fallout 2?
Fallout. Because for Fallout 2, part of this God I think was
Fallout 1 and
2.
Fallout 2 is much easier to get into, from what I've heard, versus Fallout 1.
Yeah,
it's Fallout 1 is.
I think I lost progress because I saved badly.
Fallout 1 is for people who really love Fallout. It's kind of difficult to play. Fallout 2 is more accessible.
Yeah.
And therefore it's more enjoyable to people who, aren't super into Fallout and want to play the first game.
Alright. So apparently Remic's saying he's going to go to bed after he shows what he's worked on off in game, so...
Okay.
If you have any questions aside from the question about the trailer, which Leah and I already answered, as the next trailer will be coming out soon, but not too soon. Yep.
We have we have another trailer in the works?
I mean, yeah, it's not coming out for a while though. But I mean, once we have because we have to have stuff worth showing off for one. And
I mean, once we get the NPCs, and we can do some cool stuff we can do some cool stuff with crowds being shown.
Yeah, man. I mean, NPCs, assets, etc. Anyways, Remic's about to show off what he's been working on Mori Island for all you guys now. It should be pretty cool.
Please, this is last call for questions and answers.
Yes.
So if you really have a question you want us to answer, send it. Just tell us, and we'll see if we can answer it.
Yep, and if it doesn't come to you now, you can always say it on our Discord server, where we have a question and answers channel, which we can answer to the best of our ability there.
But if you want to get it from a person talking via voice, right now is your time. You got a writer and a level designer here to answer some questions.
Yep.
Do we have any questions?
Do we have a model of the Creeker yet. We're working on that, and will we have Radiant Quests? That's sort of like, we probably will have like 1 or 2, but we're not gonna have like a ton. We're not gonna have them in excess to the way Fallout 4 did.
You know, we're not having Preston Garvey, so another settlement needs your help.
Yeah, which I think sort of the excess of Radiant Quest is sort of them trying to get around the limitations of a voice protagonist in some aspects, but I digress. So, what was the first Fallout you played and when? Like Fallout 3 in 6th, like 7th grade. So.
Yeah, for me it was. Yeah, for me it was also Fallout 3. It was one of those things that helped me figure out that I really like retrofuturism.
Yeah, for me it was just like, I don't know, because like I think that was like, we got my Xbox prior to Christmas, and I tried playing Skyrim and I just couldn't really get into it, but yeah, Fallout 3 was just really interesting to me. And
I wasn't even legally. I was like 12 or 13. I wasn't even like legal, or not legally, but I wasn't even in the proper age group to be playing.
Oh yeah, definitely same. But
yeah.
It was
and
fun,
that was also my first experience with the creation kit too. It's what got me into it. My first attempts at fiddling around with stuff led